I mean, I'm not a starving artist yet, but if we keep this up, I will be. Well, hey painters, I'm gonna give away this $800 painting to somebody for free. I'm gonna paint it on plein air, outdoors, as usual. We're approaching Christmas time here, so in the spirit of Christmas and generosity and doing something kind for other people once in a while, I wanna do this, so I'm hoping. Let's see if we can make a beautiful painting. Let's do this. Hey guys, you do know that I do this for a living, right? I mean, I'm not a starving artist yet, but if we keep this up, I will be. Maybe I've got peanut butter in my ears, but did you say for an exorbitant fee or for free? Eh. This is our mountain scenery. I'm seconds away from doing a plein air demo and tutorial of this scene. I've got color mixing tips, depth and perspective tips. I'm going to share the one and only thing that matters to me about a good plein air painting. I'll tell you why I'm gifting this painting away for free. I just sold this size a few days ago on my website for 800 bucks. Stick around to the end. There's no way you're going to be able to guess who I'm giving this to. Let the fun begin. Let's plein air paint. Okay, we are moments away from some paint strokes, but for those of you interested, I want to give you a quick run through of my setup and supply. I've got some oil paints here. Last video we did a few weeks ago, we did a limited palette video, so I'm going to stick with that limited palette, these 6 colors plus white right here. I haven't put my white out yet, but here's a mud color that I push aside of various mixtures after a painting. Alizarin crimson, cad red light, cad yellow medium, cad yellow light, ultramarine blue, and phthalo blue. I use a variety of larger filberts, number 12s usually. I've got some smaller number 8s and stuff over here, and I am on a 16 by 20 gallery wrap canvas. The reason for the rain jacket on the back here is that usually right here you have to put something when you're painting into the sun. If I had a canvas panel or a board, obviously it would be a solid surface, I wouldn't have to worry about it. But since I'm doing that, I forgot to bring some cardboard or something. And you want to point your easel into the sun every time you plein air paint, because you want that palette, your colors, to be in the shade so you can accurately mix. It's a bit of a hassle to paint into the sun, but you just have to do it. All right, I have links below on all this equipment, supply, material that I use from dickblick.com. They're affiliate links at no extra charge to you. You can click on there and go shopping or take a look around. I also have odorless terpenoid, and I have some Galkid. I think today though, I have this tube of liquid impasto that I've used for the last several months, but kind of got away from this medium by Winsor & Newton and started using Galkid liquid, just because right here in this little bottle, because I like the liquid feel. But I'm going to use this liquid impasto today, I think. So, all right, here we go. The drawing will be in time-lapse mode, and then I'm going to paint in real time. But if your drawing is bad, you're going to have a bad painting. If you want a free unlisted video on the 4 Ps of the drawing stage, my method, click the link in the description below. All right, here we go, palette view. Hey, thanks for putting up with my ridiculousness. Welcome. Hey, we got to make plein air painting fun, right? So I'll show you a few colors I'm going to mix up. I mix up through atmospheric windows to create depth and perspective, as you know if you watch my work, but I like to mix up for foreground, middle ground, and background colors, just to kind of establish my values and my layering and my depth. So I'm going to go with cad yellow medium right here. I'm just going to put my darkest colors kind of over here. And obviously we need a little bit of blue in there. Yellow and blue make green. And that's a nice green color, but it's not really the color that's out there. And it's kind of in the middle atmospheric window, the middle ground, so it's not too dark. Add a little bit of alizarin crimson to that, just a little bit of cad red, just to kind of take the chroma out of it, if you will, and a little bit more blue. I think just maybe a little bit lighter. So I'm going to take some of this gray mixture that I had from the other day and just kind of gray it down and make it just a little bit lighter in value. That's pretty good for now. We can rock and roll with that. Now my darkest darks are actually, you know, they belong to the foreground. So if I choose to put this fence in front of me, that could be a darkest dark. Those kind of scrub bush weeds out there definitely are part of it. So to show depth, I'm going to go with some alizarin crimson, some phthalo blue, and I don't keep black on my palette. I mix it up with colors like phthalo blue and alizarin crimson. And that's pretty close for that. So that can establish I could take some of that green that I mixed up and put it in there just a little bit. But that establishes my foreground, and shoot, let's mix up a color for that mountain. We have more colors to mix up than 3, but let's go with that mountain. I'll show you how we do that. Just a violet color, and it's got various colors inside of it. It's got reflected light in there. It's got shadow, it's got light. So it gets kind of confusing, but you got to keep it simple to start out with. I'm going to go with a little titanium white. I'm going to go with a little ultramarine blue. And I want to make a gray violet color. So I'm going to go with cad red light. That's probably too far on the red side for me, although that color is in there. The rock here in this part of Colorado is red, but I'm gonna go a little more blue, a little more white, and just try to lean it on the side of maybe more like a violet gray color, and not too dark in value. So you can see I have a dark value, a middle ground value, and a light value. So if I establish my value patterns quickly, I can set myself up for a successful painting. So as I get my sky color in here with some titanium white, some phthalo blue, and cad red to make that violet sky color up there, I just want to tell you why I'm doing this painting giveaway, besides the fact that, you know, it's approaching Christmas time here, and it's just really reminding us it's a time to give and not just get. So I'm excited about doing this. I'm a little nervous, you know, I don't think I've ever done this before. So I think I'll just be honest with you, I'm a little nervous how it's going to turn out. I mean, if I don't make a nice painting here, I'm kind of hosed here, people. We'll get going here as we get our middle ground color in. I'm going to go for those trees. I know what my darkest dark is. I usually start with my darkest dark. I always do. And it would be wise, you know, to just kind of notate that with some of these quick markings here. It's just these kind of scrub bushes here in the foreground. You can kind of show a little perspective also leading in to where you want the eye to go with that. Make them larger here in the foreground, and we're going to add some more color to that as we go, but it's really important to establish that value pattern. I call them structural values. Watch some of my other videos if you'd like to learn more about that. So I'm just going to dip into some odorless terpenoid and kind of loosen up this middle ground green paint a little bit, and there's lots of colors in those trees, so but I do see this one in. I need to get light and shadow in. So I'll need to establish a pattern of light and shadow before it's all said and done. But, you know, getting back to this, you know, I really am a little nervous. I guess my biggest fear is, like, what if they don't like it? You know, I hand it to them and they're like, well, thank you. Really, thank you, but no thank you. You know, kind of something like that. But my fear is that they would, you know, I'd find it in a thrift shop next week or something on sale for $50, or they'd use it for a dartboard or something like that. You know, you want them to appreciate, you know, I really want to put a lot of heart and soul into this, is what I'm trying to say, and I want to kind of bless somebody and, you know, really kind of surprise them and give them the gift of art. You know, the gift of art. That's kind of what it's all about. It is an amazing gift. We as painters benefit from it, but, you know, people love to look at it, and so that's what we're going to try to accomplish today. Okay, back down to palette view here. I'm going to show you how I mix up that foreground light hayfield color. And I'll start with a base of titanium white. We'll just put it over here. Titanium white, a little cad yellow medium. It's kind of a greenish. It's got greens, oranges, and yellows in it. That's how I see it. And it's going to help me establish depth in the painting. So I got to get the right value, and I got to get the right color, and I got to get the right temperature. CVT painting, that's what I call it. Color, value, temperature painting. So I'm going to put a little bit of that green that I mixed up and kind of go over there into that pile to create some harmony. Sometimes you can kind of cheat into piles you already made and use that as your base to kind of create some harmony. That color is definitely in there. There's some orange in there, but let's just start with that to begin. Okay, I'm going to use a lot of odorless terpenoid, just very kind of thin, you know, almost not quite water consistency, but something like that, just to quickly block it in. And I can just go around or mix in my darks in there. It's no big deal. It'll all get fixed before the end of the painting. You know, my strategy, kind of my teaching method, is to block in the right color value and temperature in the right place. And at the very end, you dial things in and bring it together, you know. So that's how quickly, you know, that I like to cover a space like that. No big deal. And then I do see a little bit of, you know, I see some orange and some green in there, so I can go back into my titanium white and cad red light, a little bit of yellow, and a little bit of green, and just kind of put it together and just kind of put hints of it in there, you know, like that. Some a little bit more on the yellow side that's maybe catching sun back here, just like that. Okay, next I'm going to go into that mountain color. We already mixed it up, so here we go. I'm going to dip into my medium, my liquid impasto, and mix it into that mountain color that we had. And I'm just going to kind of block in that shape. I always say I like to get in and out of mountains, you know, really quickly. And that's because the light changes so quickly. So you want to establish and get in your light and shadow pattern, you know, very quickly before it all changes and throws you off. And so that's what I'm doing right now. And in a few minutes I can go back in here and I can refine all the things I see within that shape, the reflected light, the highlights, shadow, everything. So okay, next, as we talk some more about this painting giveaway, we're going to get in the foothill evergreen forest that creep up to this mountain. This is Lone Cone Peak. Lone Cone Peak it's called. It's 12,600 feet plus, so it's a decent sized mountain here. There are 14,000 foot mountains nearby, but such a beautiful, iconic mountain for this area. And really, I've never painted it before. There's so many mountains to paint. So little time, so much to paint, you know? But I'm excited to be painting it here today. So it's just a beautiful, gorgeous mountain. I can only imagine it, you know, early in the morning or at sunset. But you know, back to this painting giveaway, you know, I want to say also as I paint this in that sometimes I know a lot of you are beginners or you haven't started yet or you just like watching these things, but as a full-time painter that I am, well, fear can sometimes creep in to your mindset. You don't make sales every single day. It's a little bit more unpredictable. And you know, as I said in my channel trailer, I used to have a pretty well-paying sales job, and so when I did quit and go full-time into oil painting and teaching, you know, it's a bit of a risk, a little bit of a step of faith. But so I want to do this. My point is, I want to do this so that I can kind of fight off that kind of stuff when it creeps up into my mindset. And so this will help me do that. So a little bit selfish reasons as well, but certainly wanting to give and do something nice for somebody in the community is definitely at the heart of it as well. But okay, let's go ahead and get some mountain colors in here. I'm just going to use a palette knife just to kind of go quickly, and just because it's fun. Covers a lot of real estate pretty quickly, and I'm just getting the shadow part of the mountain there. It's all in shadow right there, but there is some light, and the more I talk, the quicker that light is appearing. So I got to kind of hustle. Okay, but anyway, back to the mountain here. So, you know, I'm thinking it's Christmas, and art makes people happy. I mean, wouldn't you agree? Art can really kind of change. It can change a mood. It can change the atmosphere of a room or a house or an office. And I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, because art is so powerful, I really am kind of hoping that we find somebody who really appreciates it. You know, I'm just using a palette knife, a little more ultramarine blue in here, and I think I'm gonna switch to the brush real quick so I can just have a little bit more control over the line of some of these shadows. But yeah, so hopefully we find somebody that really enjoys it. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Let's see what happens. Okay, so you know, we paint thin to thick and big to small. We go from big shapes to small shapes. We paint the smaller shapes within the larger shapes. And so that's what I'm attempting to do now. Just kind of bring out some of the detail and colors of that beautiful mountain, the reflected light that's in there and such. Probably a little too strong, so I need to kind of cool that down. Yeah, I'm going to switch to a smaller brush for a little bit more control, just to get the shape of that mountain, because I need people to recognize this mountain, and I think they will, but there can't be any question in their minds. They got to look at it and be like, oh yeah, I know that. That's kind of what I'm shooting for with this. So I want to really kind of take my time with the top of this mountain, and get the shape correct, because it's very, very iconic, very recognizable among locals. When they see this, they'll know where I was, and they'll know exactly what mountain it is, and that'll make it all the more special. Just using a palette knife here just for effect. Hey, me again. If we haven't officially met, my name is Terry with Learning Plein Air, and my passion is painting en plein air and enjoying God's beauty outdoors, teaching. If you haven't subscribed yet, would you consider hitting the subscribe button right now? Last, if you're getting some value out of this painting right here, hit the like button for me. Appreciate it. Well, as we continue to define this mountain, and I'm mixing in some phthalo blue, a little titanium white, to get these beautiful snow reflected light that's in there up in the mountain. Need a little more phthalo blue though. But yeah, I want to just kind of say too though that I always talk about in my videos that I'm interested in an impression, a mood, and a memory. An impression, a mood, and a memory. And you know, this is part of the reason that I always talk about that, because I really want to make this painting special, because I want to make it an impression, a mood, and a memory for somebody else, you know, so that they can look at that and be like, oh yeah, man, wow, we used to go camping up there beneath Lone Cone Peak, or we've dirt biked up there, snowmobiled, skied, whatever. And so I always talk about that when I plein air paint, and there's a reason, a thought out reason, and that's because I want to connect. I want the paintings to connect with people. You know, I don't want to get all I don't want to get all sappy on you. Okay, let's go ahead and put some light snow on that mountain, and if my plan worked, getting the shadows in, getting the right color value and temperature, putting the light in will just make it kind of come to life and create contrast and interest in this whole mountain. So let's go ahead and do that now. And, you know, back to that last point there, but this is why I plein air paint, because you can create an impression, a mood, and a memory, because you're observing directly from nature. You know, you're not painting from photograph, and not that there's anything wrong with that. All art is good, studio, photographic reference, whatever. But I'm just saying, for me, this is why I plein air paint right here, is for this direct observation where I can be out here, the wind is blowing, the sun is in my face, I see this beautiful scene, and I can directly interact with nature. I can feel. That's kind of my spiel on that. If you're on the fence at plein air painting and you've been kind of thinking about it but you haven't pulled the trigger, man, I tell you, take your creativity outside. That's what I would say about that. Here we go. So as we put some highlights, the light part of these ponderosa pine trees on, we're kind of making some progress here. Let's see what we can do. Start right here in the foreground. Kind of, these trees are closer to me, so they're going to have more of those latest lights. So, okay, we're going to get the light on the tree, just impressionistically. Just in certain spots, just to kind of show definition and the shape of the tree. Nothing too serious. Light's kind of changing, moving this way, left to right. It's changed since I started, but luckily the mountain and everything hasn't changed too drastically that I can stick with my original plan, so it's not that big of a deal. And just doing some impressionistic brushwork here. Not going to paint every leaf, not interested. Only interested in an impression. Light and shadow painting. The light kind of gives form to the trees and just describes it. But yeah, moving on, you know, in the spirit of giving, you know, there's a Bible verse, Proverbs 11:25, and it says, "A generous person will prosper. He or she who refreshes others will be refreshed." So there's another reason to kind of give, you know. If you give, it'll be given back to you. And that's not why we give, but there are some promises there as well. So for us not to worry that people are getting something from us that they shouldn't have, you know. Okay, just kind of picking up the intensity here a little bit with this. Maybe going a little too strong, but I'd rather go too bold because I can always dial it back. Okay, so incidentally here, if you're beginning plein air or thinking about it, I've got a free unlisted private video in the description. I'll link it up in the description for you that really covers setup and supply for beginners from A to Z. I really think it's a comprehensive video. Spent a lot of time on it. Everything I could think of with my 17 years of experience plein air painting. And so if that's of interest to you, grab it there. I also have another free video in there. Let me see, what is that one? That is, gosh, the drawing, the 4 Ps of the drawing stage. I didn't do that in this video because that's not kind of what this video is about, but if you want to get that, that is a very valuable video, the 4 Ps of the drawing stage of plein air painting, in order to get your paintings off to a successful start, a good foundation. So grab those in the description. Okay, well, let's take a time out here and look at the palette, look at the painting. There is no rhyme or reason to this palette. It's just, I guess a lot of my greens are over here, some of my blues here, some of the foreground field shadow colors here, tree colors here. It got messy, but we'll just kind of stop here and take a look at some close-up strokes. I like where it's heading, you know. I think this is something that I can be proud of, and but I've been kind of thinking, you know, maybe we should maybe not make it free, but maybe like a 50% off sale. No. Well, I purposely left the foreground here a little more abstract, and I tried to really kind of focus on this Lone Cone Peak because it's so iconic, it's so recognizable, and I like how it turned out. I like the brush strokes. There's a lot of different shades of different things in there, reflected light, shadows, highlights, and I purposely left these trees a little bit more abstract and the ground a little more abstract, and you know, I kind of like how that turned out. All right, well, the moment of truth. Okay, let's go give this painting away. Let's go find somebody, some poor unsuspecting soul who knows nothing about fine art and just would like a freebie. Take 2. All right, let's go see if we can find just the right person to give this painting away. Let's do it. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous too. All right, here we go. We're walking in for the giveaway. In just a minute, you'll see who I'm giving this painting away to. I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited. Here we go. Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right. There she be, Lone Cone Peak. Wow. There you go. So it's your choice now to reject it or accept.
We definitely accept it.
Awesome. Yeah, you're very, very welcome. So it's a 16 by 20 inch oil on canvas. You know,
wow.
So.
Well, that is really impressive.
Awesome.
Everybody that lives here will know exactly where that is. It's definitely recognizable. That's beautiful.
All right, so here we are. We're at the San Miguel Sheriff's Office. I'm with Sheriff Masters and his staff, and this is who I decided to give the painting away to. And again, I just wanted to do something nice for somebody for Christmas and spirit of generosity. And as I thought about who I'd give this away to, I always see the sheriff vehicles driving on the roads on my way to my paintings, and I'm just real grateful that they keep the roads safe and our community safe so that we can go out and enjoy these beautiful mountains. So I hereby give away this painting to the Sheriff's Office here in Norwood, just outside Telluride, Colorado.
Well, thank you very much. It's a real pleasure. And we'll hang it in a place of honor where people can see it. So thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome. My pleasure.
Nice to have the Lone Cone here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Whew, I think that went all right. I think they liked it. Otherwise, they were faking it really well, but I'm just glad it's over with. I feel really good. I'm going to put another video up here, and it's going to be that video that I did last on a limited palette. So if you're a beginner plein air painter and you want to learn how to paint on a limited palette and all the benefits and how to do that, click up here right now. Hey, God bless. Merry Christmas. See you in the mountains.